with me before Daddy gets home.
X gon' give it to ya, gon' give it to ya, X gon' give it to ya, gon' give it to ya. Rewind. So last night I got round to watching X, this infamous horror movie which came out this year from A24 Productions. And the funny thing is, when it was released, it was so limited, it was almost like the distributors or people that might have been excited about it didn't know about it, because just the nature of the film, it is simply entitled X, would probably make people go, oh, what is that about? Well, let me tell you, because I watched it last night in the dead of night, and it was an unnerving experience. I will say that much. Now, the standouts in this cast were pretty amazing, actually. In fact, the whole cast are really great. I've got to give a special kudos to Martin Henderson. Now, you know him as the motorbike hero from that motorcycle film Torque in the late 90s, early 2000s. His audio commentary on that film, by the way, is absolutely hilarious. You need to check it out. But he's really great here. He plays like a Kurt Russell type Svengali kind of figure, a movie mogul. Now, basically, the story is a group of about 6 or 7 people go to this remote Midwestern town in America to shoot a porno movie. Pretty much that is what the setup is. And it's now A24 Productions, they've done something here that I haven't seen in film for a long time. First of all, like, the actresses who sign up for this movie know fully well they've got to get disrobed, play certain scenes out, which then take a much more horrific turn later on. And I've got to applaud these actresses, because look, in today's Hollywood, guys, you cannot make a normal good old-fashioned movie. You've got exceptions like Robert Eggers with The Northman, that's for sure, and maybe to a lesser extent the Nicolas Cage film recently, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, that film. See, I have trouble pronouncing that film title because it wasn't that great a film, folks, I've got to say that. But back to X, gon' give it to ya. Yeah, this film is, I'll tell you what, something happens in this film much later on. So apart from the saucy sex stuff that's going on, and Brittany Snow is really good as the disillusioned blonde bombshell Barbie type girl who chain smokes a lot. Mia Goth, I think she's kind of like the other standout of the film. Then there's Jenna Ortega, which I'll talk about shortly. But yeah, after they start to shoot these naughty scenes in this remote cabin in the Midwest of America, like, the guy who owns it, this really old dude with his really old wife, the weird things start to happen when they kind of make their appearances a bit more frequent. And halfway through the film, something screeches to a halt. And I thought to myself, oh, this person is going to be the one that carries out the atrocities that we're going to see in the final half of the movie. And it turns out I was wrong. I completely missed the boat on it. In fact, what I thought wouldn't happen did happen. And I was kind of, I think for the most part, it actually worked for me. Now, I would say that X isn't a perfect horror movie in that respect, because there were a couple of times I thought, nah, I'm not quite sure if I buy that. Now, if you saw my review for The Fly with Jeff Goldblum back last year, I talked about a scene where the character could have easily moved out of the way without getting severely mutilated. And there's a scene in this film where a Vietnam vet, he keeps boasting that, oh, I've done 2 tours in Vietnam and I know where to hide and show myself in plain sight and take out the enemy. And yet he could not stop somebody from shooting them in the chest. It was just like, come on, dude, you've got combat moves, you could just deflect that weapon straight away. But nope, he got it. But I guess there's a specific reason why they went to that decision, because you got to remember, this film is set in 1979, so they're evoking the type of movies that would have been made back then and what would have happened to ethnic characters in those films of that time. So I guess that does kind of make sense, but it kind of still bothered me a little bit. And Jenna Ortega plays one of the most detestable characters ever. I mean, oh boy, when we get to the third act with her, and you think Frosk, Indiana Frosk is insufferable, there is a scene here that is both insufferable but satisfying at the same time.
Keep your voice down! Don't tell me to be quiet! I was lost in a dungeon!
I laughed my arse off so much I just could not stop grinning afterwards. It's just a momentous occasion. But I gotta say, Martin Henderson, as that Kurt Russell type Svengali figure, he was a standout for me. Mia Goth, oh my god, just wearing that overall with nothing else underneath was just a sight to behold, and it's a really well shot film. It really felt like you were back in the 1970s again, watching an exploitation movie that exploits the whole genres that Hollywood has been known for since the dawn of time. So X, if you haven't seen it yet, folks, it is released on Blu-ray right now from what I can tell, and do get yourself a copy, or if they're showing it at a local art house theatre near you, do go over and watch it, because I think on the big screen this film will be fantastic. And by the way, of the gruesome murders, now I'm not going to say which one it is, but there is, how can I describe it? Wow, I can't really describe it without spoiling it, but it's one of those scenes that when you see for the first time, you're shocked by it, but then the same thing occurs multiple times about 30 seconds later. And I don't think I've ever seen this in a horror film, ever. And it really, if it didn't freak me out, I'm like, I need to get a shot of brandy in my system right now, because that was just highly disturbing. I don't think I'd ever watch this film again for a long time, maybe on Halloween, but I do prefer the 80s and 90s slasher movies because they knew how to be fun, and this film does have some fun moments, but admittedly one or two telegraphed moments that you think, come on guys, you gotta set the payoff a little bit better. But A24, they've done it again with X. Do catch it when you can, and if I were you, I would catch me, but not around the corner, on my next video.
Cavey Poo, you'll go put the key in the safe for me, won't you?
Captain Caveman!